Hey, good morning. It's another day at the book club. Thanks again, my
Morning.
sister. Morning, how you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing excellently well. Thank you. God
Okay,
bless
oh,
you.
thank God.
Another another day, and the Lord has brought us to it, and we're gonna rock it. So let's rock it. So we're on a journey. Let me bring up my PowerPoint here. So I'm
Actually,
gonna.
driving.
We are driving a
Yes.
just listen to us. It's
Yes.
well, nice to have you here, but don't look at your phone. Just keep on
No,
driving.
I won't.
Right, great.
Yeah, system.
Let me share this for the sake of the other people that might be looking. Where's my? Guess is the whiteboard I need to share. Let's see how that works. So I have the whiteboard, and I'm going to bring up my slideshow here. All right. I hope. Let me just confirm what is being sent on my backup here. I'm gonna look at my reflectors on the other website and be sure that I'm showing the right thing. So, Mr. YouTube, where are you? All right. At least
Blank.
it's blank, huh? It's not showing what I'm
Yes,
supposed to be
white.
showing.
White.
It's
White.
white, the whiteboard. All right. Let me go back
Yeah.
and share it. Let me look for how to share it. 1 second. Mr. Share. Uh, Purpose of life. All right, I have the right one. Let's see. It should be showing the right one now. It should be showing
Yeah.
a full
Yeah.
screen. All right, come on, huh?
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, hey, Toba is here. Toba, you're welcome. Anyways, we've been doing this study on our book club on the four purposes of life by Dan Millman. And today we open chapter 2, which is the second purpose, right? We said that next study, we'll finish this book on May 10 and we'll start on May 17 with our next book, which is Believe It. Chidi seems to have already gotten his copy. He got his soft copy. He's not read it yet, but he's got his copy. For those that might not have all the opportunity, maybe back in Nigeria, I do plan to send 100 copies down there. Most of it will be on Jumia. If I know and I'm able to get through to you easily, you can pick it up from me, from my house or something. Otherwise, I'll put it also on my website and we'll get a dispatch rider to send it to you. You just have to pay for that cost of delivery. But we'll get it down just so that people can read it and follow along. All right, so we've been studying this book or reading into this book by Dan Millman, which is divided into four parts, talking about the four purposes of life, right? One is that we need to be ardent students in the issues of life. I love my Jim Rohn, my mentor, will tell you that you should be a student of life and people. That's the way to make it in life. You have to be observant. You have to be a student of life and people, right? You don't make it in life by just being intelligent. I mean, I've been through schools and everybody knows me in several schools, and I'm on Facebook and I say this live in public that I was an intelligent student going through all my classes, whether I be at my primary school, All Ups, Our Lady of Apostles private school, which was my elementary school, coming into St. Greg's. I was there competing with the likes of Kunle Arojolu, who was the best passing out student in 1983 when I graduated from St. Gregory's. And he went on to be the best first class in 1988 in Unilag. He's gone on to do his PhD. The last I know of him is probably in Berlin or wherever, or in Dubai. Femi told me about that. You know, those are my people I was competing with. I went on to University of Benin, even though I played around in the first New Year's. But when I picked up, I was one of the best 5 students coming out of graduating in mechanical engineering in 1990 out of University of Benin, and so on and so forth. But my intelligence did not necessarily make me win in life. I had a lot of failures when I now came out of school. I had to face real life. right? The person you see today is someone who has had to reinvent himself to be where he is today. And what you need to win in life is what you call native wisdom, streetwise, right? Good book is good, but it won't help you succeed in life. You have to add to that book native wisdom, street wisdom. And that's part of what you learn from the lessons of life to win, right? And today we're going to go on to the second purpose, which is finding your career and calling. You observe that I'm going past my 5 minutes because I'm the one sharing today. All right. Thank you, my brother Francis, for coming along. And the third purpose to say is discovering your life's part and attending to the rising moment. But part of what we did, as you learn you're welcome, my brother. As you learn the lessons of life, know that life is guided by principles, by laws, right? On yesterday, I was sharing in my fireplace talk again about Isaiah 28:16, right? Jesus Christ. I'm sorry for those, sorry about this for those that are not Christians, because this is not a religious time. It's just studying to a book. But from we Christians, we know that everything is held together by Jesus because it's the truth. So anything you learn in life will find its basis back to Jesus. In Isaiah 28:16, Bible says, he has set him as the cornerstone, the foundation, right? So everything we get to learn out of life finds itself back to the truth, the truth. Everything God has set in order, right? I was fascinated when I was in South Africa a few years ago. You saw, I think it's the Indian Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean, where they meet together. Where they meet together, they do not cross one another. Water touching water, but they don't mix, right? You throw water from one to the other, it will bounce back because God has set things in definite orders. So the way to learn out of life is to understand the laws, the principles that God has set in order. Because when you understand them and you align your life according to them, you will win. If you ever go against them, you will lose. Because those boundaries are set by God. You understand them as you observe them. People that have put all of the laws together, they did not create the law. They only observed the boundaries that God has set in order. Then they write it down. So there are several laws, several laws. And the way to win is to align your learnings according to those laws. Because once you find out those laws and you align your life according to them, you will win. It's a natural thing. All right? And all of those I'll post on our website, those ones, so that you can see them. Then we learned also from chapter 1 that when we are learning lessons of life, there are different subjects that we need to hold that will help us along the journey. And as we go along, we'll talk more about them. We'll say that you have to have self-worth. You have to know that you are worth it. You are worth it. You are worth it. If you don't see yourself as worth it, you will lose every time. I was just counseling someone on my marriage website, right? He's had several relationships, but none of them is working. He goes to these people, they allow him, they start a relationship, but after they start looking down on him. They don't relate, right? They separate. He wants to love, they start, but it goes nowhere. So I had to dig into finding out what is his problem. Then I found out that he did not like himself. Because he did not like himself, he did not see himself deserving of this woman. And that message is clear. You don't have to say it with your words. We all can read from the person we are going with. And those ladies see that he's not worthy of himself. He's discounting himself. So they treat him the way he's treating himself. That's why he's had problems and sorrow in relationship. So we've been able to dig to that far. And I'm taking him now through a course for him to be able to get self-worth. Because until he gets self-worth, he cannot make it in life, right? And all of the other ones they're there. So in the last 3 weeks, we have treated the first chapter, right? Which is life's lessons, right? We've talked about smarten up, grow up, wake up. And thanks to Chidi, to dear brother Francis, Toba. Thank you all for taking us through chapter 1. Thanks. Today, I'm already 4 minutes behind, but we'll continue. we're going to start chapter 2, which is finding your career and calling in life, right? It's divided into 3 parts, just like a chapter 1. I'm going to be talking today about how to choose satisfying work, right? Our dear sister Hen will come on next week, and we're talking about how to earn a good living, right? And our dear sister treasure will close it out and talk up to us about provide useful service, not just providing service, but useful service that makes a difference, right? So I'm going to go on mine. I'm 5 minutes behind, but it's all part of the plan. And you know, this chapter 2, Dan Millman starts it with this quote. He says, whatever your life work is, do it well. Do it well. That is critical. Don't ever take anything for granted, because everything you do in life is important. It's part of God's plan for you. Once you take it for granted, you are taking your future for granted, right? You are taking your future for granted. Whatever you do in life, there are 3 days in every man's life: yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Yesterday is history, is gone. Today, we are here. Tomorrow, we don't know. It might never even come. Who knows? You might die today. Tomorrow is a promise. Today is what you have. Your present is a gift from God. How you spend your today will determine whether your failures of tomorrow will be worth it or not, right? Whether people will remember you for your yesterday or they will remember you for your today. If you don't make anything good out of life, your story will all be dependent on your yesterday. So no matter how much failure you've had yesterday, that's what people will remember you for, right? But if you make good use of today, people will forget all your failures of yesterday. They will not remember your failures anymore, because your ability to make the best use of your today will make people forget about your future. They will only see your success. And we see that all over life. David failed God. He killed somebody. He committed adultery. But what do we see of David today? A man after God's own heart. We don't really remember David except those who don't have any other thing to do, that he committed adultery. All we know is a man after God's heart, because he did not sleep. He did not make his failure the totality of his story. He made the best use of every today he had in his life, such that we remember him as a man after God's heart, not a failure, a man after God's heart, right? And we see all of that story in the Bible and in life in all itself. We have Maradona. What's her name? Maradona, yes. No, is it Madonna or whatever her name is? Madonna, I call Maradona. Madonna, yes. Do you know that she was once a prostitute? She was once a prostitute, but who remembers that? Nobody. Because she has transcended her past. She did not stay and make her story, oh, I'm useless, I'm a prostitute, I was abused. Hey. She has made use of her present, such that we don't remember that she had a past being a prostitute. Right? Same thing we talk about our dear Oprah Winfrey. She was abused, but she did not make that her story. She made the best of every day she had. We don't remember that she was abused. All we know today is that she's a billionaire, very popular person, And what about your life? Why are you making your life one incident? Your past is history, it's gone. Make the best use of your today so you can have all that God has for you. All right. So in life, we now define the difference between career and calling, right? We all do a career. That's why we send our children through school, all of that, so that they can make a good living for themselves. They can do something worthwhile that they'll be paid for. They'll be able to live a good life for. I once met, when the first time I met the son of a friend of mine back in Bakersfield, California, and I asked him what he wanted to do in life. He said he wanted to play amoka. For those of you who don't know what amoka is, it's what we call locally in Nigeria mouth organ. He said that's what he wanted to do. I said, mouth organ, son of a Nigerian. And tell me again, what else do you want? What do you want to do? He said, mouth organ. Well, not to embarrass the mother who was there, I had to just stop, But we Nigerians, because of poverty and everything, we want to force our children to do careers that we know that they will get money and hopefully take care of us, not just be saying they are this thing. There's a difference between career and calling, right? But a career typically is what you do that you'll be able to get money for, you'll be able to get attention for. You're doing it basically to take care of yourself, right? And when it comes to calling, you're talking about something that I like, something that I love, something that sparks the light in me. Like, you can see me teaching right now. This is a calling for me. This is not a career. You see, I do this for free. I can do this all day long, right? I went to bed about 2:30 a.m. and I got up from bed 5 a.m. because I wanted this to be a success. I wanted this to work. See, I've only slept 2.5 hours. I'll go back to sleep after this one. I have another meeting after this and I'll go back to sleep. But I do it for free because it's a calling. There's something inside of me that just lights up, right? For free. When it comes to career, I make money, but that is a calling. It's what gives me life, right? So we're going to be going through this chapter for whatever time we still have. I probably have just 4 more minutes before we go into questions. It's how to choose a satisfying work, right? One that will light you up, one that will give you life, one that will sustain you, one that will make you fulfill that you live life, one that you're not just doing for the sake of doing, but you're doing to bless people, to make an impact, to leave a dent in this life, right? And you need to find that work, right? It's a place of discovery, right? We don't just eat it at once, right? Even though when we came into this life, there's a disc that's put inside us. God has already put a disc saying, this is what you will do. This is how you make it. So in Ecclesiastes, the Bible talks about the fact that, God has set eternity in us. He has set eternity. The way to interpret that is God has set your definite path, your definite line inside of you before you came into this world. It's just like when we talk about Jesus Christ, it will say that according to what is written of him, he came. Right? Jesus Christ didn't just come and find what's my career, what's my calling. Ever before he came, ever before he was conceived, right? There was a book written concerning him. There was a volume written concerning him. He came to fulfill, to live out that volume. In the same way, every single one of us has a volume that's been written concerning us, right? Before we came into this life. So Bible begins to talk about Jeremiah, that I have known him. I knew him before he was conceived. Right? There was a book, there was a volume written concerning him, and all he came to do is to live that. If he lives anything other than that, he will not be happy, he will not be fulfilled, right? Because there's a definite path that is for every one of us, right? It's for us to find that path, right? That is the difference between someone that is happy and someone that is not happy, someone that is fulfilled and someone that is not fulfilled. It's finding that path that before conception was laid out, written concerning you, right? And we're not the same. That's why you can't compare yourself to someone else, because the disc in your friend A is different from the disc inside of you, right? You have to find your own disc. It's something that comes from, life is lived from inside out, not outside in. For as long as you're comparing yourself to people, you are not going to be happy. You have to find that disc that God put inside of you to live out, right? And you find that by knowing yourself, right? So sometimes, your career and calling might be different. Maybe you chose your career and it's different from your calling. And sometimes you can lead the two together. Sometimes you cannot, right? Like I have one of my bureaus, right, who read petroleum engineering, read masters, even went to now do MBA and all of that. And she was doing very well as a petroleum engineer. Got a job, supervisor job. She was doing very well. But what was inside of her is she wanted to do fashion, right? She wanted to do fashion. Even from a very good job, she resigned and went to go along a line of fashion, right? And is in Silicon Valley right now, building businesses, right? Building businesses, connecting with the big players, right? Very intelligent, right? But her line was not what she studied. What she studied only created for her doors. Right now, she's way out of what she studied, and she's building businesses in Silicon Valley, right? Now, all right, I'm done. 8:20. I'm opening the floor for questions now. I need to take a break. All of my slides I'll put on Facebook so you can catch up on the things I don't talk about. Any question for me before, and if there's no question, I can continue. But any question for me? Chidi, you have any question? Go ahead. I can't read. Let me read what's on the chat so that I can focus. Go ahead. What does this?
I'm asking, where does talking about miles apart, calling and career?
Yes.
But for clergy, for instance, and maybe for a singer and things like that, don't their calling and career mix up together, become one?
Not necessarily. For some people, yes. For some people, no. Right.
I just want to know that in some places, some people's career and calling can jam each other and they become like one, but not necessarily one.
Yes, that you see. You see, that's my second sub bullet there.
Okay.
It's possible that both of them become one. It's possible that they don't become one, right?
Okay.
For some pastors that are not working, their calling and career are probably into one because they have to make money from their calling, right? Okay. Some other pastors are working and pastoring, so they are two.
I just wanted to
some musicians make money out of their music, so it's one. Some people who work and they are playing music is two. So it's different from each person. It all depends on the dish that's inside of you, where you find fulfillment.
Thank you.
Any other question?
You can hear me?
Yes, hello? I can hear you. Go ahead, Chidi, go ahead.
Yeah, so, the issue of a lot of us are in careers and not in any way close to our calling, because when you are in career, you may not really have satisfaction. You might be getting money, being influential, whatever way, and being known by people, but you won't be satisfied. That inner for satisfaction. And once you have an alignment or intersection, with career and calling, I tell you, it's like an explosive action or event. And so most times, because of the way we are, especially where we came from, things are so difficult that we more or less pursue career instead of our calling. If you look at, I don't know whether you were the one, it shows something about Michelangelo and all that. I read a bit about him and how he was able to align himself to what his calling was, and you see where he brought him to. So a lot of us are really in the wrong place. I'm not saying actually in the wrong career, but in the wrong place because we are doing things that are giving us money, but not giving us satisfaction because it's not a tangent. It's a tangent with our calling. So maybe, I don't know what you think about it, how we can really, in the face of
I lost you, Chidi.
Career is
all right. Yeah. So let me try to answer your question. Let me go ahead. Chidi, well, your volume is going down. All right. See, what we miss it is the fact that we chase after money for the sake of money. And when you chase after money for the sake of money, you will lose your calling. You only have a career and you will be unhappy. You'll be sad, right? You will have no direction. You will just be giving and not getting. Because in your calling, you get. In your career, you give, right? You need those two to have a balance of life, right? You have to be giving and also receiving, right? And they are almost like what we call a paradox, right? Because in career, you are giving, right? And you are giving, but you are giving for the sake of receiving, right? Though it looks like you are giving for other people, you are actually doing it for getting, right? On the calling, right? You're actually doing it for yourself. You are receiving, yet you are giving, right? So it's a paradox, right? One is like you are giving, but you are actually receiving, right? In carnal means. The other one is like you are getting, but you actually give them in metaphysical realm. So one is physical, the other one is metaphysical, right? And The solution is don't chase after money for the sake of money. Money is not the end of life, right? Money is not the end of life. We chase after money for the things money can do, not for the money itself. If you miss that, you will miss your calling, right? The reason why you chase after money is for the things money can do, not money itself, right? It's for the experience you can have because of the money you will get, not the money itself. Because if you miss that, then all you are doing is accumulating. Oh, I have 20 houses. I have 30 houses. Oh, I have this business. I have this business. And yet you are not starving yourself. I am not Warren Buffett who stays in one old house. The more money I get, the bigger house I will have. I am here to have an experience. I'm a spiritual being here to have a physical experience. And I will have it to the uttermost that God allows me. If I can buy a private jet, I will buy it. You can say all you want to do. That's your own business. If God affords me a private jet, I will ride it. I will not even allow you to fly with me, self, if they are abusing me, right? We're here to have an experience. And the more experience you allow yourself to have, the more you can fulfill the destiny, the intent of God for your life, right? So whatever you are doing, making money, you also have to listen to your inner voice, right? You have to listen to your inner voice. So the ancients, have that on the temple of Apollos. They say, know thyself, know thyself, know thyself. When you know yourself, then you begin to give yourself to the things that give you life. You don't just give anyhow or be walking, oh, till I'm dead, till I'm dead. Huh? A lot of things happen when we don't do this, right? I met a friend of mine just recently, went to elementary school together. I left elementary school in 1978, so not since 1978. But now we're talking, and he was telling me about how his wife just suddenly one day said, I'm not doing anymore. This is after 25 years of marriage. Their first son is 25. I think the second one is 22. They say, I'm not doing anymore. It's called midlife crisis, right? Midlife crisis occur because people don't know themselves. They don't know themselves and take care of themselves. So life suddenly just eats you, more like about 50. Life suddenly just eats you. A relation of mine also, they just divorced, was it last year? After 25 years of marriage. It's because you are not taking heed to yourself. You have to know yourself. Socrates says an unexamined life is not worth living. A life that you're not checking. Am I happy? Not happy? Am I feeling purpose? Not feeling purpose? If I die today, will I be a fulfilled person? If you don't examine your life and just living, just going on rail track, you will die before your time. You will miss God. You will miss your calling, right? Because your calling is what gives value to life. Without your calling, you don't have value in life. Career will make you money. You can buy all the house you want in your life. But without a calling, you miss it, right? Any other question? We have 2 more minutes. Any other question? If you don't, I'm just going to go to the next slide. All right. So for you to, it's critical that you find your career. It's critical that you find your calling. That's more critical in your life. It's also good to find your career because that helps you, right? It carries you because sometimes if your calling cannot feed you, you might not be able to perform at the ultimate place. Like one of my bros I spoke about, right? Once she had her education in petroleum engineering, she had first degree, master's. She goes to Harvard and all of those places, and they open door for her because they are respecting the degrees that she has. Now, with the degree that she has, the doors are open. She can now affect them with her calling. Well, she doesn't have any degree, though when she goes to those people that are scholarly, what does he have? He doesn't have a degree. They won't open the heart or their person to her. So her calling will be useless, right? So there's a combination between those two, right? And it's getting the right combination that's important, right? And in doing that, it's a matter of discovery, right? I didn't just become a teacher overnight, right? Even though I always had a bit of teaching skills, I've had to go through different things, looking for what it is that my disc is saying. At some point in time, I used to be in a musical band, right? I tried musical band in St. Gregory's. We have a musical band in St. Gregory's or Fege. I didn't do much. in university, in my fellowship, I was a part of what we call the Jesus Generation Singers, right? Which is a musical band. I tried playing the saxophone, but I went through all that journey to get to where I am, So it doesn't matter where you are, but just keep on pushing. And somewhere along the line, you will find home, right? All right, I got to stop here. All my slides I'm going to download on Facebook so you can read everything I've not shared yet. And next week we'll have our sister Anne come along. All right. Thanks for being here. It's 8:30. I need to let you go. So we'll see you next week by God's grace. Those of you that are interested in praying, we do pray Monday to Fridays, and on Saturday I do what I call the fireplace talk, which is just me, the teacher at Bonnie. All right. I need to let you go. Thank you for being here. God bless you all.
Thank you. Thanks. God bless you.
Okay.
Go ahead. That was a good one.
Hey, thanks, my brother.